That is the sound of a distracted, divided, and dead American until they hear. Battle for freedom, triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Welcome everyone, I'm your host Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo5 Radio, and I'm glad that you're joining me as we get to another day. It is Tuesday, and so much to do, so much to share as we try and do this thing called life. My name is Watson Prunier. I'm a host of Battle for Freedom. If you were listening on iHeartRadio, you probably just finished listening to the Pat Oney Show. Comes on Tuesday mornings at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can hear him off even on the weekends. If you tune in and listen to Mojo50.com, you won't know about him unless you go to Mojo50.com and you look into him and many of the other hosts that you can enjoy on this amazing network called Mojo50 Radio. Please look into this and share it out with as many people as you possibly can, because of the fact that this is how we make a difference and this is how we change so much. We change the world. Listening to Mojo50 Radio, Battle4Freedom.com, Battle for Freedom, and my website, Battle4Freedom.com, and we go from there and we have a great day. So today, you probably might not have all the stuff that you need to see on this thing, but today I want to call this Fitymivirus. The Fitymivirus. I forgot even what the acronym stands for right now because of the fact that I haven't had my American Pride Roasters coffee. So if you want to do this, join me in having some American Pride Roasters coffee so that I can get my thoughts together as we have a very interesting day on this broadcast today. Spending trends and dead ends is what I want to talk to you about today. Fitymivirus, spend trends and dead ends. But let's get into some American Pride Roasters coffee so I can wake up. That's it. I've hit the snooze button a dozen times and now I have to finally get going. But I'm not going to do this day right if I don't start it off with a cup of American Pride Roasters coffee, the official coffee of Mojo50 Radio. But I'm not going to lie to you. They have a wide variety of blends, but I'm leaning towards the one that's named after me, Watson's White Chocolate Caramel. You know what? It sounds as good as those words that just rolled off of my mouth. Listen, get it today. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Tell them that Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you, and you want Watson's White Chocolate Caramel blend to start your day off. Join American Pride Roasters Coffee and Mojo50 Radio, and most important, Battle for Freedom, as we celebrate the best coffee in the nation. American Pride Roasters. American Pride Roasters coffee, again, the official coffee of Mojo50 Radio. But another thing, too, that I want you to understand, which is kind of really cool, is I'm not having it in my American Pride Roasters coffee right now. I'm actually enjoying the great thing called water right now as I wake up. But I'm not only enjoying the great thing called water in my cup. Let me go to full view so you can kind of see this. But I'm enjoying it in this wonderful Battle for Freedom tumbler that I got from Romeka Designs. Look at the nice, pretty tumbler that you can get from Romeka Designs, /Battle for Freedom. It has, the nice Battle for Freedom logo. It has Battle4Freedom.com on the bottom there. And then you see on the other side, triggering change one heartbeat at a time. All available for you right now at RomekaDesigns.com /Battle for Freedom. Remember, give them the code B4F, Baker 4F. And they will basically give you 10% off of your purchase. There was another cool thing that came in as well, too, with my, not just with my tumbler, 20-ounce tumbler, but a nice, cool Battle for Freedom keychain. Oh, isn't it pretty? Isn't it very, very pretty? I would love for you to get one of these things if you can, but remember, my first request is have your bills paid off. Make sure you've done your due diligence to bless other people, to have your bills paid off, and make certain that you are putting your money away and you're saving and you're providing for your family. This is key for me only because of the fact that I want you to succeed and I don't want you to unfortunately be losing out in life because because of the fact that we weren't watching and doing what we needed to do correctly in the area of finances. I want to talk to you about finances today. I want to talk to you about just the reality and the sadness that we go through over and over and over again because of the fact that we all don't do well with our monies. I'm one there too. Even as my wife and I are on a plan to do things right, we don't always get it right. We don't always stay on the plan. But honestly, it's really cool that as we're working through this whole process, I tell you right now, I would love to just take out $3 to $10 and just go play random lotto tickets. Whether it's Powerball, whether it's Hoosier Lottery. I'm so tempted to just go out and do it. And there were a couple times I've done it in the past year or so. And God was like, "What are you doing?" I'm trying to show everyone in your family, your wife's family, your listeners, that it can be done if you stick to a budget, stick to a plan, save up your money, get out of debt. You can accomplish the dreams that you have in your heart and the things that I'm going to enable you to do, but you have to stick to the plan. One of my best friends who basically got us into the total money makeover plan, just celebrating being debt free. Just celebrating is now debt free. I mean, there's other things that they still have to take care of in their lives, but the big annoying things that we all throw into our lives, they celebrate being free from a lot of the burdens that we consume on a daily basis. And if you want to interact, you can go to facebook.com/Mojo5 Radio and leave a message there, because I see Carolyn, good morning, Linda, Lep, Carrie, and Heidi. Thank you for, let's see, there's more. I'm sorry, this thing keeps scrolling. Josh and Jill, Linda, Amy, thank you for being part of this program. Triggering cup. I love it. Yes, a triggering cup. Yes, cup for
triggered.
for those who were triggered. Thank you. I love that. Oh my goodness. As we sit here and we go through this whole process of just being honest and serious about what it is that we're doing here. I was looking at this one article, and it's really sad because of the fact that a lot of us are living outside of our means. Here it is. I saw this article was on Forbes. 78% of workers live paycheck to paycheck. Career Builder found that 78, and this was written in, I believe, 2019. This is January 11th of 2019. I think the numbers might have gone down to a little bit lower than that, but it says 78%. So more than 3/4 of Americans, U.S. workers, are living paycheck to paycheck. This number may be further exacerbated by the recent federal government shutdowns, which has resulted in more than 800,000 federal employees not receiving paychecks. So what can you do to battle financial pressure? Here's what you need to do. Living paycheck to paycheck. According to the 2017 survey, leading job site of Career Builder, sound these startling statistics. Here you go. For example, here's some findings in the survey. Nearly 1 in 10 workers making $100,000 plus, more than $100,000 plus, are living paycheck to paycheck. More than 1 in 4 workers do not set aside savings each month. Nearly 3 in 4 workers say they are in debt, and more than half think that they will always be. More than half of minimum wage workers say that they have to work more than one job to make ends meet. 28% of workers making $50,000 to $99,000 usually or always live paycheck to paycheck, and 70% of them are in debt. The survey also found that 32% of nearly 3,500 full-time workers surveyed use a budget, and only 56% save $100 or less in a month. This is from Forbes magazine in 2019. They're talking about the problems that we have when we are not living correctly, when we are living beyond our means. And I know it's a lot. I know that times are tough. Times are just really difficult. As my family, we want to move into a house. Oh, we want to move closer to some friends, and just we have friends close to us right now, but we're in a place that we're happy to be in, but we're looking forward to when God opens up that opportunity for us to be on some land, so like a lot more land than we have right now. But we're trying to do this the right way. We have great friends giving us counsel on what is it we need to do or where we need to go, or we have apps that we can look and see as the market has its trends of where to buy, where to sell. That we're not buying anything until next year, because our goal was by our 10th anniversary. I wanted the to be able to say to my wife, happy anniversary in our home. To celebrate our 10th anniversary, I wanted to do that for my wife and basically say, here you go, sweetie. This is a blessing to you. This is a gift to you because you have just been so amazing, sticking with me, helping me raise our kids, and just being an awesome person all around. A blessing from God. I could be desperate. I could try and move mountains to make it happen, that it happens this year. But oftentimes I found that when I tried to rush myself to make something happen, the worst always happened. The worst always took place when I tried to rush myself. And I remember what it was like living from paycheck to paycheck. It's not fun. It's not fun. It is painful to live from paycheck to paycheck. I've done that for far too many years, and many of us are probably still doing it right now because of the fact that we don't know how to manage money. So, of course, I'm going to have to talk about Dave Ramsey. I'm going to have to talk about Total Money Makeover. I'm going to have to talk about Financial Peace University later in this program. Because if it's working for me, a simple-minded person like me, it can work for any of you who are far more intelligent than I am. If a simple mind like me can apply these principles and work myself out of debt, I believe that if God can grant me this kind of success, most definitely, let me be the low level on the standard for the bar of what you pursue. So that when it's time for you to buy that home or buy that vehicle or buy or even make any purchases going forward, that we do it wisely so that we're not penalized in life and basically living in regret, being a slave to lenders for the rest of our lives. I don't agree in credit cards, but you know what? I'm playing the credit card game right now while still being on a budget. I can explain to you how I've got that done as well, too. That yes, there's a way that you can do it, that you don't pay interest on credit cards. You still build up your credit score if that's what you really need to do. But it doesn't happen if we don't have self-control, if we don't have the self-control that we need to make certain that we are not living above and outside of our means. Amy, cut out cable. Amen. It's difficult. We've been without cable for years. Our subscriptions right now are what we get from Prime Video, what we pay for Netflix, and what we get for PureFlix. And I'm glad we made the investment in PureFlix. Hey, if you haven't done it, look into PureFlix. If you haven't done it before, they'll give you. There was a deal when we got it in January that you paid for the first year. It's $99 a year, and they basically gave it to us. We just paid $83 for the first year. Get PureFlix, and I highly encourage it because my family and I are really enjoying the Chosen TV series. We saw episode 7 last night with Nicodemus, and finally having that meeting with Jesus, and Nicodemus meets Jesus at nighttime, and it's a scene that'll make you cry. I mean, I've been crying through the whole series. I'm sorry. It's just the film work, the cinematography, the filmography, everything that they've done in this series has just been par excellence. And it's what I strive to do as I aim to be a decent filmmaker or a very decent filmmaker in life. And yeah, Amy has YouTube TV. You haven't even considered that one yet. If they stop banning me, maybe I might get a subscription. if they stop making me, I'll probably look into getting a YouTube TV subscription. Oh my goodness. But just this whole idea of us living from paycheck to paycheck, let's be honest about it. And most of the times we spend all of our energy trying to buy things, trying to buy homes, trying to buy cars, trying to buy computers, trying to buy cameras, trying to buy everything to impress other people. We should just make the purchases that benefit us, regardless of however. Yeah, it's true. That's true. YouTube is banning a lot of people. You know, you and I are living lives sometimes where we're spending too much money to try and please people. We're spending too much money to try and make other people feel like, well, we're here for you. And now listen, we can sometimes do that without having to overextend ourselves. We can do it without having to overextend ourselves. Even in my wife and my family, there's a couple things that we're going to continue to do, but we just can't do it as much as we want to, because we have to be wise in this whole process on how we do things. We just really do have to be wise in how we do these things. It's not that we think we're better than you. It's not that we think that we're too good for you. No. We just recognize where some areas where we're spending too much money, we just have to do or be better, be wiser in this whole process. Our vehicles, my one vehicle is 11 years old now, almost 12 years old, and it's needing a tune-up. We need to cover that. Tune-ups aren't cheap. Our other vehicle is near 6 years old, almost 7 years old. It's going to need a tune-up. We put some serious money into a vehicle work yesterday, and there's still another $1,200-$1,300 of vehicle work that we have to do. So as we sit here, and because remember, vehicle ownership, home ownership, a lot of these different things, there's all these hidden costs that people don't consider when it comes to finances and living and just trying to have a normal, debt-free life. See, not in and of itself it's a what's the word for it? Not a conundrum, but it's just this whole idea of an oxymoron. Of a normal debt-free life, when it's not possible to have a normal debt-free life, because being in debt is the normality in society. I understand if you get if you have a mortgage, people paying off your mortgage, that's fine. Pay off your mortgage. Try to have even a reasonable mortgage for yourself, so that you're not. Yeah, because we're going to talk about even being house poor in a second here, because a lot of people are house poor. Yes, Carolyn, think I want or I need before buying. And that's the reason why many people are living from paycheck to paycheck, because we've got to be entertained, we've got to be traveling, we got to be buying, we got to be doing. And it's like sometimes we just need to go back to simplicity, as I redo my office, of be still and know that I'm God. Psalm 46:10. A wonderful design that I got from my niece and her husband from Dines Designs. So yeah, you have Dines Designs, you have Ramika Designs. Dines Designs is giving me my woodwork, and Ramika Design, they do woodwork as well too. They have a carving system, again, like my beautiful triggered cup, and even a nice keychain, all available for you at Ramika Designs. As you sit here and you watch this whole thing, how are we living? And that's it, right? That's where it is right there, Carrie. Too many people are trying to keep up with the Joneses. Why? Because let's think about this. We are trying to impress people who are not paying our bills. We are trying to impress people. Oh, I've got that degree from that pedigree school, that Ivy League school. The same degree works at just even a smaller school, but it won't get me in the door of this job here and there. Do you have to even work in those bigger associations? Do you have to really work in those bigger companies? We set these realistic and sometimes unrealistic goals of we have to work at this place. I have to have this kind of car. I have to have this kind of house. I have to have this kind of income. And I'll do whatever it takes for me to get there. We stop living. We stop caring. We stop being true and authentic with people. We live to be fake because we're trying to pursue something that's fake. Because this whole idea of me being happier with a bigger home, with a fancier car, with so many zeros behind my bank account, it's all fake. We're pursuing because it's fake because of the fact that it's not eternal. The riches and everything like that we grow and we accumulate on this earth is not something that we can take with us when we leave and we depart this earth. So why do we put so much energy? We put so much energy in pursuing these things because we got to have the glitz. We have to have the bling. We have to have everything that says to people, I'm something because I have this. Listen, I am blessed to be married. But there are some people who are out there who aren't. Some would love to be married, some who have no desire to be married. But even in our society, we treat single people who are seeking to be married. We treat people who are even content not to be married as somehow, some way freaks because they can't find someone. That's part of the reason why I expressed my disdain and frustration and disgust like I did yesterday about the whole idea as to why we keep impressing upon kids to be in relationships. Even I know proms is what we've always done, but is it something we should always do? Think about this. We have little girls saving up money, spending $600 for an event for one night, to basically be around a whole lot of people who don't like her. Our girls, our boys, competitions, even when you go to the prom parties, the drinking, the sexuality, kids getting roofied. But we're going to send our kids into, I love it, my buddy Tim, he said it best. The whole idea is that the proms are nothing but meat markets. Nothing but meat markets. So why in the world are we sending our kids into this den of wolves just to do something we've always done? Because the proms have moved far away from those moments of celebration to be done with school to now it's for decades it's been the popularity contest. So now our kids are working and they're stabbing each other in the back for who goes away with the glorious prize of being prom king, prom queen. We sit there and we terrorize the rejects. We lift up the jocks and the beauty queens. Just because of the fact that we're pursuing something that is not even real. Because think about this, your crown as homecoming queen and king for a season, not for eternity. And I believe that many of us take that prom king and prom queen mentality into our lives, into our homes, into our cars, and into so much more that we start thinking that we are literally better than other people because of the fact that we may have a Mercedes-Benz or we may have a 3,000 square foot house on 3 acres of land. And we may think that we're so much better because of the fact that we can just travel and fly and go wherever we want. So we think that we're better than people just because we have stuff. And that's where I'm sitting here thinking, so you're going to live paycheck to paycheck. Go ahead, win. Play that game. I'm not in competition with you. You win. I concede right now you are the winner. But I'm letting you know that you're losing so much more. You're losing your livelihood. You're losing your happiness and contentment because you're going to be working hours and hours on end, constantly, jockeying and constantly, what's the word for it? Not jip and jiving and everything like that, but you're constantly hustling to have that money to basically support a lifestyle that is unhealthy for you. Unhealthy for you, your wife, your kids, your neighbors, because they want to keep up with you. Yes. And even sadly, even Amy, you're right. And it's sad, even in churches. Social circles in churches. I remember when I got divorced from my first marriage. At first, I was perfectly fine before getting divorced. But the moment I got divorced, I had people in my own church treating me like a leper. Why? Because we're pursuing something We're pursuing something that's not even real. We're pursuing something that's fake. It's putting a lot of people in bondage, and it's destroying a lot of families and lives because of fakeness. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom. Let's go to a break.
And now, homeschooling with Watson.
Okay, now time to quiet down.
Daddy's in the backyard. He left his phone now.
Time for class.
Aww.
Simmer down.
Okay, Daddy.
Okay, so let's get into the lesson.
Daddy?
Yes, sweetie?
Why aren't you playing those funny songs on your break anymore? Awkward!
Because those commie Nazis of big tech have nothing better to do than harass people like me?
Whoa! Triggered!
Yes, Olive. What do you want to ask me?
What's a commie Nazi? Triggered!
It's when the totalitarians of the Progressive Democrat Party are aggressively destroying our country.
Did you have too much American Pride Roasters coffee, Daddy? Daddy?
Yes, sweetie.
What's a totalitarian? What's a totalitarian?
It's power-hungry people making really bad rules that they will not follow themselves.
Isn't that what you tell us happens with big government?
Yes! Exactly! You make me want to cry.
Aww! We love you, Daddy. We love you, Daddy.
I love you too. Now, where were we?
Government back. God good. Amen. Hallelujah.
I love being a dad. Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio, and I'm so glad that you're with me as we just get through another day as I sit here. Let's see if I can figure this out I completely forgot to remember why it is I gave you the acronym I'm using for Fitymivirus. Fitymivirus. I'll try to remember why it is the Fitymivirus, but I think it's just the whole idea of buying. It's a common phrase that we use, and I made it into an acronym, but I forgot to say what the common phrase was. Holy moly guacamole. This is just too funny. I'm suffering some brain damage. I think I'm in need of some serious.
Does your mind seem like it often shuts down before it even starts? Sounds like you need to detox to improve your health in body, mind, and spirit. I'd like to tell you about New Life Holistic. It is an amazing therapy process that uses neurofeedback and biofeedback for many issues that ails everyone. New Life's method and approach to health, balance, energy, and vitality is what sets it apart from anything you have experienced ever before. Call 1-833-4-BIO-LIFE and tell them Watson from Battle for Freedom had sent you. One more thing. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 off of your first session. The consult is free. New Life Holistic.
New Life Holistic, share it out with as many people as you possibly can. So it's just a couple of comments that were just here. I just have to laugh about during the break, or just even before the break. Carrie Alexander says, she says, Mama wants to retire on the beach where there's cabana boys and margaritas. I'm like, hey, you know what? Do that, Carrie. But if there's a Mr. Carrie, he better be your cabana boy. That's my only thing, because we're trying to maintain your marriage while if you are married. If you're on the beach, make sure the cabana boy is Mr. Carey more than anybody else. Oh my goodness, it's just too funny. But as I sit here, and I finally figured out. I I finally figured out what this phrase means. I finally understood, remember what the acronym means on the Fitymivirus. Now, not like Fitty said, but Fitymivirus. So the acronym, take out virus for a second and just look at Fitymi. And the phrase is basically talking about the whole idea of fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. And that's exactly what a lot of people have been doing, is this whole idea of, you know what, Amy, if you want to listen before the end of the break, I'll hook you up with Dr. Anthony on the biofeedback, and I can definitely get you that information there. But fake it till you make it virus. A lot of us have been doing this. A lot of us have been faking it till we make it. Fake it, so the whole bunch of people. And it's not just in finances, it's in everything that we've been faking it till we make it. One of the things that I'm going to try and tell you that I try and do, and I try and do well as best as possible, is I know life is not simple. I know life is not easy. I know life has challenges. Oh my goodness. One, I'm a human. And two, I drive my wife up the wall. 3, I sometimes drive my kids up the wall. 4, I drive my coworkers up the wall. 5, I drive a lot of people up the wall. 6, and there's so many different complexes. So that long before I'm dealing with stresses, external stuff, I'm trying to deal with the internal stuff that's going on with me. And there are times that, I try to do better, and I try to be an example and everything like that. I don't always get it right. If any of you think that I've arrived, you are really not paying attention to me. You really don't understand me. You never understood me if you think that I believe that I've arrived at righteousness, if I've arrived at being a good person. I strive daily for the whole process of being pleasing to God, submitting my will, submitting my mind, and trying to be obedient and follow Him in all things. And I tell you, I fail daily. But I'm not going to sit here and try and hide who I am. I'm going to try and be as honest and transparent as I possibly can. Because the fact that a lot of us have been faking it until we make it, and most of us keep faking it and never make it. We think that we have arrived with a car, with a house, with a spouse and a mouse. We think that we've arrived somewhere, and that the whole time we're miserable. I'm just sitting. Throw something for Fitty said. Well, fake it till you make it. How many of us? Let's be honest. Raise your hands. I can't see it, but how many of us will honestly say that we've been faking it until we make it? Listen, my family is in the home that God wants us to be right now in. We're in a place where, by the grace of God, my kids have a roof over their heads. We're in a place right now where God is saying, take care of your family and do the best that you can right now. Don't overextend yourself. Don't, and where you see that you're overextending yourself, let's have a meeting and try and replan things, reevaluate things, just to make certain that you can be in contact but not in debt, or in conflict with your plan of getting out of debt and basically being able to be a testimony to other individuals. What in this Forbes article, what does it say about the whole idea of 3 strategies to weather a financial storm? It's almost exactly like what we do with the Total Money Makeover. First thing, start an emergency fund. Don't wait for financial disaster to happen and then start an emergency fund. Start an emergency fund now. Many federal employees didn't expect the government shutdown, nor did they expect the shutdown to last this long. As a result, many federal employees can't pay their rent or mortgages, and some are considering quitting their jobs. Whether it's a government shutdown, unforeseen medical expense, unexpected home or car repair, or even unemployment, you never know when you'll face an emergency. None of us know that. None of us. We have car bills. Praise God. My wife and I, we had $1,800 of work. We're like, okay, let's aim for $500. And we had a certain amount of money set aside to cover those bills. And so then when it came down to going to pay the tally for the bill yesterday, guess what? We had $53 of credit because of basically taking our car to the dealership to be serviced. Yeah, it's probably a whole lot more expensive than taking it to a personal mechanic. But you know what? The dealership is about 2 miles away, 2 or 3 miles from where we live. Nearest mechanic that I know is about 45 miles away. God took care of it. I know it's difficult to understand. I know it's difficult to see. I know sometimes those bills get so high. But here's the thing about it. Have we changed the way that we're living? And are we trying to prepare for the worst? I've been so psychologically overwhelmed and just so psychologically beat down, emotionally beat down. And I thought that I had vacation 2 weeks ago. I had fellowship, with my in-laws a couple weeks ago, and I'm trying to get back into the groove of things for work and so much. And I'm just trying to navigate this thing called life, try to be a decent husband, try to be a decent father, try to be a decent, just human being. And sometimes life just gets just overwhelming at times. I understand. But to sit here and just not plan because we just want to say, well, to eat and drink, because tomorrow we die. Let's just enjoy life and do everything that we can because, when the economy bellies up, at least I had the memories and fun that I can say that I had. And then I have nothing to speak for if the economy goes further out. I mean, more senior citizens are living longer today now, more than anything else. They're living outside of Social Security. They're living outside of retirement. They're running out of money before anything is all said and done. Because everybody put all their hope in believing that Social Security was the only thing that was going to take care of me. We've been talking for 40 years that Social Security isn't going to be around, and everybody keeps thinking, I'm just hoping that Social Security has to be there for us, and the government has to do everything they can to make sure that we have money there for Social Security. But you didn't want to stop going on vacation. You didn't want to stop spending money. You didn't want to stop going and buying fancy things and everything like that. Because you wanted to be the top. You wanted to be so impressive to everybody to say, look at my status because I'm driving, I have bling and I have cool driving thing. To impress people who won't be there for you when you really need the help. Here's the other thing. Start a side hustle. If you're facing financial stress, you already may be working more than one job, so adding a side hustle may not seem feasible. There are myriad opportunities online to start your next side hustle. Your side hustle might even be a lead to a higher paying full-time gig. For example, 3 free-time lancers collectively earn $700,000 a year. They leverage their talents in copywriting, voiceover, performance, and website design to build a growing business. You can too. And number 3, consolidate your credit card debt. No. That is horrible. Don't consolidate your credit. Don't consolidate your debt. Do the Dave Ramsey plan of basically one thing at a time. Snowball debt. So the first one that I agree with is the whole idea of emergency fund. Dave Ramsey plan. See, I want you to read, and I encourage you to read Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey because of the fact that I want you to understand, even as my wife and I read the book 6-7 years ago, we're watching these stories of people paying their debts off, thousands of dollars of debt in like 3 to 6 months or 2 years. And we're thinking, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. It's impossible. But to sit here several years later and be on the cusp of being debt-free, and it's like, it was possible. We didn't have to, and that's the crazier part about it too, is because sometimes we see people's success and we feel like we've got to mirror it. I've got to pay off my debt in 2 years because that's what they did in the Dave Ramsey book. No, it's not about getting out of debt, just as fast as everybody else that you completely kill yourself and stop living. No. You can still live. You can still have a budget for entertainment. My wife and I, we still had a budget for movies. We still had a budget for eating out. We still had a budget, even a budget for ourselves. I think our budget started off was like $5, $10, or $15 a piece, and then it went up a month. That we had $5 a month a piece. We started off of what you could spend, and then it went up to $10, and then it went up to $25, and we capped it at $50. Like we don't feel comfortable bringing our monthly budget allotted to each one of us to $100 until we are, one, debt free, two, we're already in a house and our budget's set that we can afford to pay our mortgage, pay our taxes, pay our bills, and continue saving for our kids and college and so much more in retirement. But we don't want to sit there and overindulge and pay ourselves when we haven't done the due diligence to protect ourselves for the future. One credit card at a time, and the debt snowball process. So the Dave Ramsey process in Financial Peace University, step one basically says build your initial emergency fund of $1,000. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up an account with any kind of bank that allow you to create a savings account. And what you want to do is turn around and start putting, some of them will only take an initial deposit of $300. Okay. So that's probably what you're going to want to do initially is save up $300 to put in there because a lot of them have that minimum requirement of a balance of $300 to avoid any kind of processing fees. So what you're going to do is you're going to open that initial savings account, and don't look at here as, I'm going to be saving up all this money, because trust me, the interest rate on what you save is complete. It's nothing. Okay, so that we're not here about saving up this big, huge retirement fund in this emergency fund. The purpose of this is we're going to put away $1,000 so that if a dishwasher goes out, if you need car repair, that's under $1,000, you won't be freaking out when it happens because you have $1,000 sitting to the side. One of the things that I have done in working on this emergency fund that we have is, so we have an emergency fund in one account. And what we did is I just automatically set up years ago $15 a month. No, not $15 a month. $15 a paycheck comes out and goes and fills in the account that we have that's supposed to be $1,000 minimum. And here's the crazy part about it, because if you open that account and you have $1,000, you have $1,000 as your balance, you're still off $300, because that $300 is the minimum that you need in that account to avoid paying any kind of service fees or anything like that. So if you could find one that will keep you from having service fees as long as you have higher than a $300 balance, then open that account. Some of them may even be a $500. But again, the whole idea and the purpose of this account is quick money to get to in the event of an emergency. So when you hit that $1,300 balance amount, you now officially have your $1,000 emergency fund. And trust me, my wife and I had an accident and I had to have some work done on the car. Boom, emergency fund. Pulled out the money out of that thing, didn't even touch our regular checking account while we're paying bills off, while we're taking care of things, while we're trying to live and survive. We dipped into that emergency fund, and what you do is in that process, once you that's the first step. That's step one. And see, and what's really amazing is when you do that, when you start putting that money away and you get used to seeing that, oh my goodness, it's amazing that you can see that you could actually, and we could develop the discipline to put the money aside. Praise God. I love the fact that you guys are on vacation, Amy. Beautiful pictures of where you guys are on vacation. We almost made that trip as well, too, similar to that trip of what you did years ago. We were going to pay, the trip was going to be about $5,000 for our family of 5 to find a place to stay, to fly down there. It was going to be $5,000 to $7,000 for all of us to head down there. I'm so glad we never made that trip. Because one, there's other things that we had to pay for and take care of. And we were tired of living in an apartment. We were tired of living in apartments back then. There's nothing wrong with living in apartments if that's where you believe that God wants you to stay for now, so that you can do all the other different things that He has purposed in your life. There's nothing wrong with living in an apartment. We would just love to have a little bit more space for our girls so that they could feel a little bit more comfortable and they can run around and not have to worry about crazy neighbors, dogs yapping in the middle of the night, They don't have to worry about this thing. So as we sit here and we try and save up and guide us and, God guiding us. Yes, Carrie. Starting the emergency fund. If you can, I know you can do it. If it means cutting out your Starbucks drink, well, definitely cut out Starbucks and get American Pride Roasters coffee. But if we sit here, we start making those necessary sacrifices in our lives. And here's the thing about it: I never stopped the having the $15 a week coming out of my check. I mean, $15 a paycheck coming out. It's still going. I'm just letting it there because I'm living my life without that $15 a month. I don't want to turn it off. I want it to keep going. Because even one of my best friends who got into it, and he was telling me about the $1,000 emergency fund. He said, honestly, he and his wife, they pursue a $2,000 emergency fund because when things happen for him and his wife, it's big appliances that go out. So they want to be able to cover all those appliances. So when things go crazy, they have the money to cover it. So it's all these different things of planning what you can do. But yeah, I don't believe in consolidated. If you have a credit card with a $300 credit limit and balance, take care of that one before you. I know the $10,000, it seems so overwhelming, but it's a snowball effect. It is as you roll the snowball from the top of that mountain, and as it builds up and as it rolls further down, it collects more and more and more snow, so that it's a bigger missile hitting whatever it is. If you throw a small snowball at someone, you can get something else. But imagine hitting somebody with a snowball the size of an elephant. You could do some serious damage on that whole process. But we don't plan these things because we feel like we just got to keep living and doing this and enjoying life and doing all these different things because we'll never have enough chance to have these memories again. There's a lot of things that you can do to make memories on that cost nothing. It costs nothing except your time, except our time. It can become an avalanche, exactly. And praise God for what you guys are doing, Amy, down there. We drove, found a deal, $700 for 1 week. Amazing. Oh my goodness, for us to be able to do the $700 is a whole lot better than the $7,000 that we were calculating of what we had to spend. But please, I know you can do it. Dave Ramsey, you could go to Half Price Bookstore, go to any place that you can imagine. Look for Dave Ramsey in the Total Money Makeover package. I mean, you could get that book for like $2-3. Read it. Because what I want to happen in your life, like happened in my life, is a disgust that we develop for debt. That literally that debt offends us more than the other side of the political aisle. That debt offends us more than the other person that we have ideological differences with. That debt would offend us so much that it would be as bad as we would see debt far worse than racism, sexism, child abuse, child trafficking, abortion, and all the other different things that we equate as evil in our lives. We should see debt as a bigger monster that must be defeated. Because until we get to that point that we're offended by it, take care, Linda, be safe. Until we get to that point, debt will always be something that keeps us in bondage. Here was one thing I saw, even when it comes to a car. This is another article on Fake It Till You Make It. This is on CNBC. I saw this was it was updated in November 8th of 2019. Never spend more than this much of your income on a car, says a millionaire finance expert. Americans have a complicated relationship with cars. Aside from buying a home, a car is probably the second most expensive purchase you will ever make in your life. And after more than 10 years of writing about money on my personal finance website, I found that being too fixated on the advertised price of a car is the biggest and most expensive mistakes that buyers make. Too often people will purchase a car without having a realistic understanding of how much more it will actually cost to own. As a result, they end up spending too much and exceeding their budget. to save others from making costly mistakes. He's like, he come up with this whole idea. He's like, because this thing they call the 1/10 rule. He says, listen, what I see with a lot of people, he says he found that Experian have found that 20% of borrowers are taking out loans of $50,000 or more for a car. For a car. That means the median income of earners who buy a median price cars are essentially spending 80% of their gross salary. And he's saying don't spend more than 10% of your gross salary. So he says if you make $40,000 a year, there is no reason for you to be buying a car that's more than $4,000. Period. But there are people who are out there who are not making $350,000 a year, and they're buying $35,000, $45,000, $50,000 cars. They're buying Teslas. They're buying Teslas that are, somewhere between $70,000 and $150,000, and they're not making anywhere near $700,000 to $1.5 million a year. They're financing for everyone, and he says, and worst of all, after they pay 25% in effective tax rate on their annual gross income, they'll be spending almost 100% of their net income on their car. They talk about how maintenance and other hidden costs will eat up your savings. The opportunity cost is a big bummer. You have a lot more stress about it. You have to spend even more money on your car as people are doing all these different things, and it's like you're gonna have a hard time shaking off the guilt because you had to have that car, that Benz, that Mercedes, that Tesla, or whatever it is. You had to have that car because everybody else was driving it, because it was an icon, it was a status symbol for you that you could never afford. That's a very interesting thing. 10% rule. Don't spend for a car more than 10% of what you make. But most of us don't do that. Most of us are buying cars that are, $20,000, $30,000, and we have 2, 3, 4, 5 car payments, and we're not making $1 million. We're not making $200,000 a year. We're not making $300,000 or even $1 million a year. But we have all these car payments, house payments, all kinds, and keep going on vacation and so much more we can't do because we're constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses. Here's another thing I found on here. Here's the top reason Americans are carrying an average credit card balance of over $6,200 a year. This is the thing from U.S. Today. The country's outstanding credit card and other types of revolving debt have jumped 20% from a decade ago, reaching an all-time high of $1.1 trillion, according to a recent study by Compare Cards. The average balance on a credit card is now almost $6,200, and the typical American holds 4 credit cards, according to the credit bureau Experian. Credit card issuers are also giving Americans more room to run up debt, boosting the typical credit limit by 20% over the last decade to $31,000. So there are people who walk. I remember before I got divorced, my first marriage, I had a card with a $13,000 or $16,000 credit limit. I wasn't making more than $50,000 a year. And I had a credit card with a $16,000 credit limit. Here's another one that I saw. This is the big one, especially in this housing market. This is especially the reason why we are waiting a year. We're waiting about 15 to 16 months before we buy a home. This is on CNBC as well. This is actually written in July of 2017. A shocking number of Americans live in housing they can't afford, according to a Harvard study. According to a new research study at Harvard University, almost 40 million Americans live in housing that they can't afford. Home ownership has gone down and rental prices keep going up, meaning that millions of residents are forced to pay more than they reasonably should. In the study, the researchers determined the affordability by people's ability to pay 30% of their home income or less on the cost of housing, which may include their mortgage, insurance, and taxes. Home ownership keeps declining, and now, mind you, home ownership is going up high, like there's no tomorrow, because people are just charging ridiculous amounts of money for a house. And people, listen, buy a home. If that's what you want to do, I'm not condemning you if you buy a home. I just feel that a lot of the homes that are out there are so overpriced that you're getting raped just to say you have a house. Just to say that this is my own island. And guess what? When the time comes and life is so difficult that you can't live because inflation's so high and you overpaid for a house that you shouldn't have paid for, you shouldn't have purchased in the first place, you can't blame the government. You can't blame the government. Yes, our government has a spending problem. Republicans and Democrats have spending problems. And libertarians too have spending problems. But no one put the gun to your head to buy that house, to buy that car, to make that investment that takes you outside of where you're living. Listen, I appreciate every one of you listening here. I just want you all to succeed. I want us all to succeed. And we can't do that if we're not living within our means. Look into Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University. It's about a $130 investment for an 8-week course. But I believe that if you stick through it, you stick to it, you don't have to fake it until you make it. You can live real, true, and not fake before the world. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo Fiber Radio. Brad Stagnan, Daily Mojo's up next. Take care, and God bless.